Hallelujah. We serve an awesome God, don't we? Hallelujah. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. So his greatness should be measured by our praise.
Yeah, that's right.
Amen. If he's okay, God will give him okay praise. But if he's a great God, we give him a great praise. Hallelujah. Come on. And real quick, because I've been preaching all over the country, I am here to sit at the table this morning. And I can't think of a better place to sit. I can't think of a better chef anywhere than Pastor David Rice. Every time I hear him, every time I'm around him, I feel like I'm close to my grandfather. And that's the greatest compliment I could give to anybody. But I just had to come up here and show y'all what a miracle looks like. As if you all didn't know, because we've got another miracle sitting here on the second row. And sounds like we got another miracle in the making somewhere floating around over here on the side. So I'm telling you, we got a church full of miracles here today. And today I'm 39 years old. Today. It's my birthday. And this has been the best year of my life. It started out looking like it was going to be tragic. But then, after this little guy was born on January, look at him smiling. January, he knows I'm talking about him, praise the Lord. January the 14th, he was born in Middlesboro. And there was some issues, just to expedite this, because I want to hear your pastor break the bread of life today. But there was some issues, and they told us we had to go to UT. My wife, Ashley, had a C-section, so she had to stay behind. And I had to go by myself, went to UT. And when we got to UT, we found out there was blood clots in his body. They were going to amputate this little arm over here. But then when the surgeon saw it, he said, this is out of my league. He said, this is out of my ballpark. It's out of my range. He said, I have never seen anything like this. You got to go to Vanderbilt. So within 24 hours, I was at 3 hospitals. And when you go to Vanderbilt, anybody knows anything about Vanderbilt knows that, I mean, that's the top of the line. That's as far as you can go. If they tell you at Vanderbilt that there's no hope and there's nothing can be done in the realms of man, there is nothing that can be done. And that's exactly what they told me. They told me this little guy had 2 major strokes. He had I don't know how many blood clots in his body. And they told me he was having one seizure after the other. I watched through the glass his little body convulse and jerk. And they said, you might as well call your wife, call your family. I said, I can't make the call. The doctor made the call to my wife. I was just so distraught. But they said, you might as well make the calls. They pronounced a death sentence on this baby. But what the enemy meant for evil, God meant for good. Because when the doctors tell you that we've done all we can do, that's one thing God will never say. That's one thing God can't do, is all he can do. Come on. Because in one day, when this church and churches around this country, we got messages from England, Australia, Argentina, Switzerland. We got messages from all over this world, all over the country. In Louisiana, I've never been to Louisiana. They said they were gathering together and having a prayer meeting for Jensen. Some of y'all know where the "thee" comes from. Yeah. But for Jensen. And the next night, I walked in the NICU, into the hospital room there, and the head physician of Vanderbilt University, NICU, neonatal ICU, was standing there with a smile on his face. They had unhooked the ventilator, the brain machines. They had unhooked all of the apparatus. My wife was holding this baby for the first time, and he looked at me, and he said the same words that Dr. Masden said to my papa years ago when my mama came back from the dead after 22 minutes. He looked at us, and it was almost chilling. He said the same words. He said, I can't understand it. He said, I can't explain it, and I can't take credit for it. But your baby's going to live. And on top of that, he said that this little arm would never move. It didn't move in a year. It didn't move in months. It moved in days. He got full function in his arm. And the last part, this part, I've told it all over the country. This part nobody's heard except you guys. I posted it on Facebook, but I haven't told it anywhere else. We went back for the last time. We went back to the neurologist at Vanderbilt. We were there. We went back in, and it's always strange. You know, it's bittersweet when we go back in that hospital. But we walked back in on Friday morning, and they hooked him up to an EEG. And they were expecting to find some spots or something. They tried to prepare us for that. But when they did the EEG and they looked at his brain, they could not believe that that was the brain of a baby that had 2 major strokes. It was perfect. They could find no residual effects from 2 strokes. So our God is awesome. He is mighty. He is glorious. And contrary to popular opinion, he is still a wonder-working, miracle-working God. If you believe it, give him a praise. Cross the room. God bless.